Hello, and what is going on, everybody? It is Master of the TDS, and I'm joined by my lovely wife,
WritingRaven.
And we're back for another episode of Psycho-Synopsis.
Indeed.
The segment where we summarize all the Psycho for you. Just a scattering of topics throughout the week, all summarized into one neat little package for you to enjoy and consume at your leisure.
You're welcome.
So we got a bunch of topics to discuss today. So without further ado,
let us bring in our first client, Dr. Stone.
We are back. Dr. Stone, New World. Get excited.
Oh, we're excited.
No, you have to get excited.
Oh, I'm getting excited.
TMS Entertainment has officially confirmed that the third season of Dr. Stone, called Dr. Stone New World, is just over the horizon.
And we are looking forward.
If you guys have not watched, Dr. Stone is an anime. It's been going for 2 seasons now. This is going to be its third. So Dr. Stone is an anime where basically an event happens that turns all the human population of the world into stone. And long story short is after lots and lots and lots of years, like we're talking a lot.
At least 3,000.
Yeah, the world gets kind of reclaimed by nature and whatever, and finally some of the humans start waking up.
And the first one to wake up is someone who is a brilliant genius in the ways of science, and literally he goes out of his way to rebuild everything from the ground up using science. And it's really well done. They literally go straight through the entire process of everything they do with the scientific facts, whole diagrams, and in the end of each episode, they actually have a disclaimer saying that all the methods used are real and you should not attempt them at home.
We're not going to spoil it any further, but if you guys have not watched it, you are missing out. You should go take a look. This one looks like it's apparently going to be adapting the Treasure Island arc, according to what I've read online. It looks like it's going to be good. We're excited to watch this, and we wanted to start off this video with a kind of more upbeat topic, because the next topic is going to be a little bit more...
not upbeat.
We're excited for this, and we're looking forward to it, and, welcome back, Dr. Stone.
Indeed. We're excited!
Get excited!
Moving on. And next we have Lance Reddick. Rest in peace.
Lance Reddick, 1962 to 2023. Lance Reddick, star of The Wire and John Wick, has died at the age of 60.
As I said, rest in peace. May your memory be a blessing.
Yeah, so you guys may know Lance Reddick. His most recent role, I think, that we know about him from was his role as... I forget his name in the...
In John Wick, he's the guy who runs the hotel.
Not that guy. I'm talking about in the... Was it a Resident Evil series?
Yes, it was Resident Evil. He played the evil dad.
I forget the name.
Me too. Then again, it was a very forgettable show.
Well, we didn't watch it, but regardless, I also know him very well from he was a very big presence in Fringe, the TV series Fringe, which I really liked. He's well known. According to what we know so far, there might have been more as, late, but I haven't looked into it. He was found... This is literally in the middle of a press tour for John Wick 4.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, he was found in his home unresponsive. That's all we know.
Yeah.
So I don't know exactly what happened. We may never know. And I'm sure people have ideas in the comments. I'm going to ask something very important here, okay? Write something nice about Lance Reddick, if you're going to write something about him.
Yes. Don't try to explain away his death.
We're here to respect his memory. The world will be a darker place without him. He was well-loved, well-respected, and he will be missed way too soon.
Indeed. But that's really all we got on him, so let's move on. But speaking of things that are dead, next up we have Doctor Who.
Am I supposed to be impressed?
No.
More details are emerging about the planned Doctor Who spin-offs, one of which is set to feature Gemma Redgrave and will be based on military research organization UNIT.
Why?
Now, keep in mind, this is one of spin-offs, so they're planning to make more than one.
I mean, there's already been Torchwood, the Sarah Jane Adventures, and wasn't there one other?
Yeah, K9 and Company.
Yes.
And I believe there was another one that was Class.
Yes! I remember something about that.
Now, as you guys know, I used to be a huge fan of Doctor Who, so did my wife. We have both kind of, fallen off since then. Jodie Whittaker was a terrible, terrible, terrible doctor.
I mean, we do have a little shrine of Doctor Who memorabilia as, like I said, a shrine of what once was.
Now, Russell T Davies is back, and David Tennant is back, and Donna Noble is back, and all this kind of stuff. And honestly, like, we've even heard news recently that, like, Christianable had to, like, fight to get the last season for Jodie because literally they were going to cancel it.
They should have.
But because of what happened, they were able to keep it going. Now, could Russell T Davies turn this around? Absolutely. Is he going to retcon the Timeless Children? No, he doesn't plan to. And if that's the case, that is a big problem. It's not going to get everybody back, even if he did. Doctor Who has not been doing well. It's been on the decline. I don't know if he can turn it around. If anybody could, it could be him. But given who he's casting and some of the things that he's come out and said, I do not necessarily have any interest left. I've kind of become apathetic. And David Tennant is my favorite Doctor. So keep in mind that they're bringing him back. They've already done it. And I am not interested.
Matt Smith is my Doctor, but that's just me.
I might give the special, the 60th special, a watch, and it's purely because of Bernard Cribbins. Wilf. And it's being his last role before he passed away.
Yeah.
So I might give that a watch because of that, but that's purely the reason. There is no other reason. It's not because of David Tennant. It's not because of Catherine Tate. It's literally just because of him, if I do take a look at it. But I'm not really that interested anymore. I think that making spin-offs is presumptuous. I think that they should see how the first season goes with Russell T Davies back at the helm. Mm-hmm. And then if they want to do these kind of things, it would be a better idea. But trying to push for this when Doctor Who's in its current state is not a good idea. Contrary to the 5 people on Twitter who scream about it, it's not doing well. It's not.
Not at all.
And I'm sorry if you don't like that. If you enjoyed Jodie Whittaker's run and you enjoyed the series, that's totally fine. And you're allowed to enjoy it. We're also allowed not to enjoy it. And we're also allowed to state the objective facts. And the facts are that it's not doing well. It has decreased in viewership. To be fair, it did so as well during Peter Capaldi's era. However, Capaldi was given a very bad hand.
And very poor scripts.
And he made it, like, he did a really good job with what he was given.
I know, but Bill was a horrible companion.
Yeah, don't you know that she's gay? She's going to mention it again for the 15th time.
Yeah, I hated her. She was so annoying!
You can't say that. If you say that and you don't like gay stuff and you mention it on Twitter, people get mad.
I was actually happy when she got turned into a Cyberman.
Me too. Long story short is that I think this is a premature move. They should really see where things go. If they're not going to retcon the Timeless Children, it's not going to get me back. And, I wish them luck. I'm hoping that maybe Russell T Davies does something and turns it around. And if he does, and it turns out to be good, and it gets me back into it, I will give him full props for that.
Indeed. So will I. But you gotta retcon the Timeless Children because that completely destroyed everything the show stood for.
He's not going to.
Unfortunately.
He's mentioned it multiple times that he does not have any plans to do so. He might just go forward without it, and that's fine. But it's not going to bring everybody back. And again, at this point, I'm not sure what would. I will continue to monitor this and see what's going on with it, but not really that interested anymore, sorry.
Same.
I want to make clear, I really wish that I was. I really wish that I had faith in this show. I do not.
No longer.
Really was my favorite show of all time. So when I say that I wish that I could feel something for it, I really do. But I don't.
Yeah. Let's move on. And next up, we have Jenna Ortega.
Jenna Ortega is being dragged by the media over her comments on how she would change scenes and dialogue in the hit Netflix show Wednesday to be more in line with the character.
You mean like how Henry Cavill did with Geralt?
You're not allowed to say that. It means he's toxic and he just hates the writers.
The writers are such pansies, it's not even funny.
Now, I have what Jenna said here, and now it can be argued that maybe she shouldn't have said anything at all. She said this on a podcast. Maybe she should have just kept quiet about this in general. But she has now been made a co-producer?
I think so.
Or an executive producer, I believe, on the show going forward. So maybe it actually worked in her favor.
Mm-hmm.
But I will let you read what she said.
Sure. Being in a love triangle, it made no sense. There was a line about a dress she had she has to wear for a school dance, and she says, "Oh my god, I love it! Ugh, I can't believe I said that. I literally hate myself." I had to go, no. And this actually gives me more respect for Jenna Ortega because it shows that she actually somewhat understands the role of Wednesday frickin' Addams.
Now, there were other lines in the show that we didn't like, and we think that didn't belong there, and we still have to finish our reviews of it, which we will do, we just haven't had time.
Technically, we haven't had the patience.
We'll get there at some point. Regardless, obviously this is a line that Wednesday wouldn't say, and the fact that she changed it is a good sign. Now, I do think that she should have, talked with Christina Ricci about the role a little bit. Maybe she did, and maybe she just didn't mention it. Who knows? But there are a bunch of articles from the media slamming her, basically saying how she deserves to lose her job and all this stuff just because she did this. You're literally you're getting upset that an actress who plays a key role in a show that became a hit, that she made changes to, that she's now going to be an executive producer on, did well, and that you're getting mad at her because she dared to make those changes, which probably helped the show do as well as it has.
I would say so.
It's called being passionate about who you're acting as, or the character you're playing. It is something that Hollywood seems to have lost touch with, but this is not a problem. If she was being a brat on set, that would be a different story.
Yes.
But these articles saying, her comments won't lose her job, but they should. No, they shouldn't.
This actually proves that she's passionate about her work. Like I said, this gives me a new level of respect for her. Honestly. And I seriously respect Henry Cavill for standing up for his roles the way he does. So, I'm gonna put Jenna Ortega in that category too now. Seriously. Even though I don't like how she has treated the previous Wednesday actresses, this does prove she understands the character. And that I can respect.
Now, we're not saying that we necessarily agree with everything that Jenna Ortega says, obviously. There are things that she's said and done that don't exactly put her in a good light. But regardless, should not be one of them. The fact that all these articles are coming out, where they're literally trying to cancel her after she was the reason that the show was a success. Because let's be honest, if she was not there and they had done a bad casting, imagine how the show would have been.
Would have been worse than Morticia in this show.
Oh,
Ugh.
God. Catherine Zeta-Jones is so bad.
Not to mention the guy who plays Uncle Fester. That was just... ugh.
Unnecessary filler episode.
Indeed. The only two highlights of this show were Wednesday and Gomez.
Yeah, I really liked...
Louise Guzman
Louise
as Gomez. Louise Guzman's Gomez was brilliant!
I really liked it. We've seen a lot of people don't like it, but to be fair, it is a much closer to how he originally looked in the comics. And it is... I do think he did a good job with capturing the personality. If you guys don't like the look of it, fine, we can get that.
Yes, because most people are more familiar with the 90s movies with Raul Julia. I, personally, am more familiar with the 60s show with John Astin, who also played a great Gomez. But most people really have no idea of the original comic strip and the cartoon that Charles Addams originally created, where Gomez looked like he does more in the Wednesday show.
And Thing. Thing was very good.
Yes, but I still miss the days when he was stuck to a box.
Well, that was before they could do effects like they've done.
I know, but it was very clever when they had him in a box.
But it's ridiculous that they keep trying to cancel people for being passionate about the product. If you wanted to argue that she shouldn't have said what she said and she should have been quiet about it, that's one thing. But there were people slamming her, and then they had to take back their statements because the fans came after them. You literally have a success here. Why would you try to tear down something that is a success?
Because they can't stand when things that don't have to do with them are successful.
Whatever. Anyways, as you guys know, my wife and I are doing a review of this. We'll get back to it at some point. We have 3 episodes left to go. You can watch it on our channel. We don't love this show, but we don't hate it either.
Yeah, it's somewhere in the middle.
And we think Jenna's performance was very good.
I mean, granted, there are some lines that didn't need to be there at all, but it's still not bad overall.
Yeah, so it's a decent watch if you want to watch it. It's a bit slow for my taste. But yeah, this whole thing's ridiculous, blown out of proportion. Jenna doesn't deserve this.
No.
And neither did Henry Cavill.
Absolutely not.
Or any actor or actress who makes changes. If they're being a brat, fine. But if they're not being a brat and it's because they're passionate about the character, The fact that Wednesday is such a big success, maybe it tells you that you should be listening more.
Indeed. Moving on. And next up, we have The Acolyte.
The upcoming Star Wars series, The Acolyte, helmed by former HW assistant Leslie Headland, had an intimacy coordinator as part of its production.
That does not bode well.
Now, an intimacy coordinator, I want to make very clear. First off, The Acolyte sounds like it's going to be garbage regardless, but that's just my opinion, and I think my wife agrees with me.
Yeah, I have no interest, especially since it's taking place during the High Republic.
But the fact that they're hiring an intimacy coordinator doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be stuff in it. However, the main actress for this that has been cast as, I think, the main character is a lesbian, and they made a big deal about it. So, how much do you want to bet that we're going to get some lesbian action in here?
Ugh. No offense, but ugh.
You know what's funny? Even I don't want to see that.
I don't think anyone really does.
But guys like that. They like seeing girl-on-girl stuff. Well, I don't.
There was one scene of it in Vikings, but it actually worked with the story, and then it was never shown again.
I just think that this is ridiculous. It's Star Wars. We haven't ever had, like, an actual full-blown sex scene in Star Wars. And again, there's been a lot of firsts for Star Wars. I think that this project is going to be garbage. It's going to be fun to kind of rib on. Now, Star Wars is essentially dead. And before I hear you getting mad, let me explain where I'm coming from so you'll understand, okay? You can disagree. So the viewership for Star Wars has been on the decline. And that's just the truth. Viewership for The Mandalorian Season 3 was not even enough to bring it back up, and you heard with Andor people thought it was very good, but no one was watching. It's because a lot of people have become apathetic to Star Wars.
Like with Doctor Who.
It doesn't mean that it's not enjoyable content for some people, and that some people can enjoy it and have fun. That's fine. But objectively, the facts are showing that it's on the down trend.
Indeed.
So, is it dead? Looks to be that way, because eventually if the downward trend continues, that's where it's going to end up.
6 feet under.
That does not mean that there won't be content out there that you'll enjoy and there won't be content being produced. It just means it will never be the franchise that it once was. So that's what I mean. If you disagree, that's totally fine, but at least you can be aware of the facts. Now, I think the fact that Leslie Headland is running this is a very bad idea. I think that having an intimacy coordinator, even mentioning it, is ridiculous. And this show just sounds like a pile of garbage.
Don't insult garbage. Garbage once had a purpose.
That's true. This may have never had one. Well, it does. Propaganda.
Oh, yeah, that too.
But that's pretty much what this show is. It's propaganda Star Wars. And yes, I'm saying that loosely. That's for Twitter, who gets mad at anything I say nowadays.
For some reason, they're obsessed with you.
Whatever. Let them be.
You're mine, after all. And I'm never letting you go.
That's great. Now, if only Twitter would stop inquiring about our bedroom activities, that'd be nice.
Yes, it would be. Go away.
You guys are weird. Look, it could be decent, but I don't think so. I don't. I think that with the viewership, I don't think more people are going to tune in to watch this series.
Yeah. It's, just not looking good.
If anything, people will watch it to make content on it to laugh at it. But regardless, not interested. Think it's weird to even mention that you have an intimacy coordinator. Weird.
Very. Moving on. And speaking of things that are gonna do poorly, next up we have the Marvels.
Brie Larson's dissatisfaction with being demoted from her franchise's leading lady to one of its many ensemble members is proving disastrous for the Marvels production.
Wah wah.
Now, want to clarify, this is a rumor, and people have come out and tried to debunk it. However, I don't really think that we've had any concrete evidence that it's not true. And from the behavior we've seen from Brie and from her marketing and all this kind of stuff, it would not surprise me if this is what's going on. And to be fair, she does have a point. I mean, this was supposed to be Captain Marvel 2, and then she's now sharing it with two others. And there's been Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, Captain America 1, Captain America 2, Captain America 3.
Fair enough.
I mean, Black Widow got a raw deal.
Yeah, she should have been the movie before Captain Marvel, as everybody knows.
And Hawkeye didn't get anything.
Yeah, just his TV show that wasn't really about him.
This film, people are saying is not going to do well. I agree. I don't think it's going to do that well. However, I do believe that it's going to make money. How much? Don't know. But I don't think it's going to make as much as Captain Marvel, not by a long shot.
Yeah. I mean, I went to see Captain Marvel with my friends and we all enjoyed it, but on the ride home, they didn't understand a word of my nerd babble and what I didn't like about the film. My friends are complete normies.
But one thing I want to point out is it's not because they don't like Brie Larson that this thing isn't going to do well. Let me explain a reason. And I think you guys will agree with me. Monica Rambeau, as you can see here on the right, was in WandaVision. So if you watched WandaVision, you got to see her for a little bit, so you know about her. If you didn't watch WandaVision, you have no clue. She's never been referenced before. She's never been put out there. Ms. Marvel also had a TV show. If you went and watched it, you know about her. It was the lowest viewed Marvel show on Disney+.
Really? I thought that was She-Hulk.
Nope, that was higher viewed.
Huh. Weird.
But if you didn't watch it, you have no idea what's going on. So again, we have two characters that you need to have watched other content to understand who they are. And then we have Brie Larson, who was controversial. So you're adding controversial, must watch this series, must watch that series. A lot of people might not go to it simply because you have to watch so much other content to know what's going on that it's not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest problem, is that Disney's branching out into all this content, and it's not going to help them because all it does is it just makes you need to watch this, you need to watch that. And it's like, but what if people don't want to watch? What if people just want to go to the movie and see the movie? Well, you can't because you need to see them.
Unfortunately.
You know what a good example of doing this correctly was?
What?
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yes! That incorporated the movies into the show and vice versa and did it well.
And you did not have to go see Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to keep up with what was going on.
Then again, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was only good until maybe season 4.
But having a show that plays off of what was already popular was a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Making characters that debut in shows and then literally aren't mentioned in the MCU until much later on is a really bad idea because it's the opposite. Mm-hmm. You're literally saying that in order to watch this movie, you have to watch the rest, and it's not working in your favor. What it should be is it should be that maybe the TV shows tie in, a Marvel's TV show ties in to Captain Marvel 2.
Yeah, it's reminding me a lot of what DC Comics once did with the Green Lantern franchise, in which there was this conversion of all the different lantern colors banding together to defeat one enemy, but in order to understand what was going on, you had to have read every single other comic besides Green Lantern to know why all the other characters were there and what had happened beforehand. It was very confusing, to say the least.
But regardless, even if it was just a Captain Marvel 2, it's not going to do well because it's not sandwiched between any big things. Marvel's on the decline. They haven't been bringing in any new viewers. That doesn't mean people aren't enjoying it and watching it and it's not making money. It means that they're not gaining viewers.
But they still should have introduced Kang at the end of Endgame.
Whatever. We got Kang now.
Yes, but not in the good way. Having him come in after they mess up the timeline would have been perfect for his character. You know that.
I know that. I was the one who suggested it.
I know! And I completely agree!
And it would have been a way to bring in also a Mandarin who was actually the Mandarin, but we're not even going to go into that.
Unfortunately.
We'll have to see how this does.
Yeah. Moving on. And lastly, speaking of Disney, we have The Little Mermaid.
Just think Black Thoughts.
No.
Peter Pan and Wendy star Yara Shahidi responds to criticism of Disney's continued race swapping by saying, quote, "People think of diversity and inclusion as threatening or jeopardizing the quality of the story instead of seeing how beautifully they can be interwoven," end quote.
Because it is jeopardizing to the quality.
The thing is, if we knew and we could see that you would actually, do what you're saying, that would be one thing. The problem is you're saying this, but they're not doing it.
Yeah.
And in case anybody doesn't know, on the right, as you can see, that is Yara Shahidi, and she is playing Tinkerbell.
Who's supposed to be blonde.
But no, we can't just make a new product. We have to race swap and gender swap and sexuality swap things because we're Disney and we're too lazy to give black people their actual stories that they actually want to watch and will actually be passionate about. We have to give them hand-me-down race-swapped white characters because that's the only way that we can make it relatable for young women and men of color.
That's stupid.
Let that sink in for a minute. They would rather take these things and change the characters to match others than instead of giving black people their own mythology and stuff on screen.
I mean, do you guys have any idea how much there is to use from African mythology? I have relatives in Africa. I know, there is a lot.
Yeah, there is a lot. And as you can see on the right, 1989 and then 2023.
They look dead.
They look like they don't want to be there. The live action stuff is annoying.
The Beauty and the Beast live action one I actually enjoyed because it did fill in some plot holes.
Regardless, this is an annoying trend with the live action. This is an annoying trend with the race and the gender swaps because that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
If you enjoy the products anyways, that's totally fine. But we're allowed to point out the laziness of representation. Because if they actually cared about inclusivity and diversity and all this kind of stuff, they would give them their own stuff that isn't dependent on white people and stories that people have told before.
They also would stop getting rid of all the redheads.
Well, that we can't have. Redheads are terrible, and we can just get rid of them, and we can do whatever we want, and nobody cares.
I care. I married you.
I know. Regardless, obviously another Disney flop incoming for both of these products, and as far as it beautifully being interwoven into the stuff, I have yet to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Once we see it, maybe you have a point. Until then, you have no point.
None at all. Moving on. And with that being our last client of the day, it is time for us to reveal the diagnosis of the week.
And we have an interesting diagnosis for you today.
Do tell.
So the diagnosis for this week is a narcissistic personality disorder.
Please explain.
So narcissistic personality disorder is basically people who think they're overly important and lack empathy. They feel that they deserve special treatment and privileges. They need to be recognized even without achievements. They take advantage of others. They have this idea that they are better than anybody else, and they want to be recognized, but they don't actually create good products and stuff that people do recognize. This is what we see in Hollywood. These people demand, I want to be recognized on screen. I want to be recognized in this. And yet the problem is they don't actually make a product that is worthy of it. They just believe that it's expected. That's why we get hand-me-down characters, is because it's expected that if we make this character black, that you will like them. And that's not true. This is something we're seeing so much more often lately. And I think that we're going to see it a lot more in the coming years until that turns around. But that's why I think this is a great diagnosis for this week.
I agree.
And now we move on to the remedy of the week.
And this week, we're sending you to our friend Makini Draws. An artist and illustrator, does videos and live streams quite often. We have been on one end. Apparently, he still has yet to make his drawings.
Yeah, I was going to reference that. So usually anybody who goes on streams with Makini gets a drawing, and we're the only ones who so far have not. Makini. Shame! 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 Shame!
We're kidding. We love you.
Yeah, but Makini's been a great friend to us. Makes amazing content. The drawings that Makini makes are incredible and incredibly detailed. It is a pleasure being on streams with him. It is a pleasure, having him involved in our lives and having him be someone that we can call a friend.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have not checked out his channel and his art, you are missing out. It is a huge opportunity.
Indeed. So grab your pencils, head on over there, and let him know that Gothic Therapy referred you.
Indeed. But that is all we have for this week. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and also make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe with notifications on so you do not miss your weekly therapy session.
Or you will be charged. But remember, when you do subscribe, your first session is free, so smash those buttons like they're bad kitties. And do consider joining us at the Dusk, Midnight, or Dawn level. We would appreciate it quite a lot. You can also find links to all of our socials in the description and below, as well as links to our merch store and our Discord server known as The Clinic. Be sure to check them out. And you can also find us on Odyssey and Rumble. And, if I may say so, we hope you enjoy our new Remedy of the Week poster.
Did want to reference that there are some Jewish holidays coming up, so stay tuned. Keep an eye on the community tab. We'll be updating you on that, because it will affect some uploads, so just keep that in mind. But anyways, that's all we got for this week, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
Gothic Therapy, out.